up, you guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Therapeutic Talks, where we dig a little bit deeper, peel back the curtain, get into some layers of what's really going on.
Oh.
And today we got a special guest. Go ahead and tell them your name, man.
Special guest is long overdue. Y'all know who
Only
I
the
am,
second
man.
episode.
Y'all,
Only the second episode.
Nah, y'all, they know who I am, man. It's Beanie Man Naj in the building.
Beanie Man Naj, bro, also known as Najae. So today we're getting to how to trust again, learning how to trust again. And my first question to you, bro, is what's something that made you lose your trust?
That made me lose my trust?
That made you lose your trust? People, that'd be the main thing, losing your trust in people, or what's the situation that made you be like, wow, I really need to take a step back and I can no longer trust you with either this information or this type of love?
I think, I can't really speak for myself because that's something that I think is case by case.
Yeah.
But I think for people, what makes them lose trust is usually, betrayal. I think trust, and I would like to say trust and vulnerability go hand in hand.
Okay.
I think the big reason why a lot of people lose trust is because the things that they shared, they were vulnerable things.
Yeah.
We're very vulnerable people by nature, even though we try to disguise that and show our strength.
Yeah.
We have a lot of vulnerabilities, and a lot of times we share those vulnerabilities with people that we are close with.
Yeah.
And so the betrayal of people violating that trust is what causes us to lose it. I think in my case, a lot of times things that can make me lose trust is just, things that I share. Like, I'm a very private person, so things that I share with people, if they violate that or if they share that without, permission, or if they share that in a negative way, it will make me lose trust. But I ultimately, I think trust is lost due to betrayal,
Okay. Now, when you say betrayal, what's the size of it? Like, when you say betrayal, are you talking about something on a larger scale? Could it be something smaller where you're like, man, I can't trust this person with that? Like, what, for you personally, what would it take? Like, would it take a larger event to occur for you to be like, man, I can't trust you? Or is it multiple small events that cause you to be like, you know what, that's one too many times that I've trusted you with this, and now I have to take that back and I have to say to myself in regards to that person?
I don't think that there's any limit on what's the betrayal. I think it can be big or small. But like I said, most of the times things that we feel betrayed about were our vulnerabilities, things that we are like that are very important to us.
Yeah.
That could be big or small. So you can't really put a size or a limit to it. It could be something that's very small, but it's very important.
Yeah.
And it's important that you protect that because I've shared that with you.
Yeah.
So if they don't protect that, that can cause me to feel betrayed, and that can cause me to, lose trust. That cause people to lose trust.
Okay.
I think that in that situation, as long as the person has expressed the importance of it to you, it's always good to just keep it, you know what I'm saying? Keep it to yourself.
Okay. Now, when you say keep it to yourself, is that something that you feel like could be beneficial to you? Do you feel like sometimes with just humans in general, that sometimes keeping it to yourself is what best will protect your peace? Is it something that really be in your best interest? Because I know a lot of times we overshare. A lot of people have a habit of oversharing, and it puts you in a tough position because now this person knows so much about you, and now you don't know if they're going to go to somebody else and talk about it. You don't know if they're going to use that later on down the line. What do you do when, like, let's say, like, just quick question: have you overshared before, in your opinion?
I definitely think I've overshared, but I think that as I've gotten like older, I think the oversharing is starting to become due to wanting to give somebody an experience
Yeah,
for their own use.
of course. Yeah.
So I think I have gotten to a point where I've become comfortable with things that have happened in my life, so much so that I'm willing to overshare to the point that somebody can be like, "Oh, you've been through this? how did you handle it? Or, oh, you know what I'm saying, I can relate to that. Even though they might not be willing to share it themselves, they in their mind like, oh, I can relate to that. Dang, I ain't know somebody was going through that.
Yeah.
And I think that is important. That, you know what I'm saying? But I think that comes with knowing yourself though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to become
Okay.
comfortable with yourself. If we're talking about the everyday person, they might not be comfortable or might not have made peace with those situations yet to the point where they can, you know, overshare and confidently overshare.
Yeah.
Like in our situation, you know, just a side note, we work with kids. So
Mhm.
sometimes I like to try to overshare not everything, but certain experiences with them to know that it's, you know, you're not
Okay.
the only one
Mhm.
that can go through it.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody. And since it can happen to anybody, you know what I'm saying, it's happened to me. You know, you might think you're the only person going through it, but it has happened to me. Now, you know, you do run the risk of somebody also sharing that information. But again, I do think that that comes with being confident in your story and
Yeah.
being confident in your experiences and being confident in the fact that your progression as a person, like nobody can take that away from you. So don't be ashamed of what's happened to you in the past.
See, I like that because you're using oversharing. A lot of people may think oversharing in like a negative way,
Mm,
excuse me, but you're using oversharing as a way to become relatable. You're
mm,
using oversharing in a way that people can look at it and be like, wow, I connect with this person because they do this or they do that. And now I have the same experience. I may not share it, but I have the same experience with this person. And now I feel like I can come to them and ask them questions, maybe. You know, that can open somebody up to you on a level that hasn't before happened between you two, simply because they're not comfortable yet. But you open up that door of comfortability for them. So,
yeah. I mean, life is one big experience.
yeah,
You know, so
100%.
whether good or bad, you're still gonna live it. You
Yeah,
know, a lot of us we go through some bad things and we want to kind of hide those things or push those things away, and we don't want them to be a part of us anymore. But I think that after a while, you know, you got to embrace it
yeah,
because it's a part of your story. It's a part of what makes you who you are.
yeah.
You know, whether you like it or not. You
Hmm.
know, you got to come to peace with it. You got to come to terms with it. So when it comes to oversharing, like me personally, I don't mind oversharing a lot of bad things
Hmm.
about me or my life or my experiences because at the end of the day, like that's how I'm here now.
Yeah,
That's how I'm here to even say these things now because I have experienced them. There was a point in time, you know, when I was younger where I was embarrassed of those things,
yeah, we all
but
are. Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, for me to move on, I have to come to terms with them.
Okay. Okay. So, in regards of trust and giving your trust to people, what does it take for you to give your trust? Do you automatically give it? Is there a certain action that happens to you to be like, you know what, I trust this person now? Or is it a certain step that you take to determine if that person, I don't want to use the word worthy, but if that person is deserving of your trust? Because your trust is something that could be sacred. You know, it's something that's could be really close to you and you don't give it to everybody.
hmm it's all connection based, bro.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's all connection based.
Okay.
You meet people, you build up connections with them, and as you gradually go, or as the connection gets stronger, then you know you end up in a situation where you know you automatically start to trust them. I
Yeah.
believe at some point, the more you get to know people, you start at some level of trust. Once you see what more you have in common, or once you guys become closer, that trust just naturally grows. The
Right.
only way I think for trust to kind of go away is for that betrayal to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you a question then.
Mhm.
If betrayal is the main reason why trust is taken away, is it possible for your trust to be taken away if you and a person have a difference of opinion? Is it possible for trust to be taken away if you and a person just simply just don't see eye to eye on something and you have a weird feeling in you? They didn't do anything yet, but maybe you have a feeling that what you've given them could be used in the wrong way.
I would say if that feeling comes, then that connection isn't that strong.
Okay.
Because like I said, I think trust is connection based, you know,
Yeah.
as well. So I'll use me and you as an example.
Hmm.
we done disagreed about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of things that could make me not trust you.
Yeah.
For me to not trust you, it had to be something that, you know what I'm saying, it had to be something so big, or something so close to me that only you would know, and it got out. Then I would be like, oh, this person, again, like, not to overuse the word, but this person betrayed my trust.
Yeah.
So now I don't have the trust anymore. But me and you have a strong connection. Somebody that I have kind of like a medium connection with, that's when those feelings come. You
Yeah.
know, when that connection isn't as strong or isn't as stable, that's when those feelings come. You know,
Okay.
and that's honestly, that's what makes the betrayal of the trust kind of even worse. You know, if it is somebody that you have a strong connection with, that's what makes it hurt more.
Yeah.
You know, so I hope nobody ever experiences that, but that's why I say it's a connection thing.
Yeah.
You know, it only grows through experiences that you share with that particular person.
Yeah.
So I would say, in that case, like, if that connection isn't already the strongest, or if that relationship isn't super strong in itself, then it's easier to have those doubts and it's easier to revoke that trust. But
Yeah.
if it's somebody that you've been rocking with for a long time, for years and years and years, for you to not trust them is that's hard.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
hard.
So let's say one of those people did, whether it's medium or high, you tell me which one would best work for you. But like when someone betrays your trust and you lose trust in somebody, is it possible for you to regain trust in them?
In them, probably not. I don't believe in going backwards.
Okay.
I believe in, when people show you who they are, you have to believe them. You
First
know
time
what I'm
around.
saying? First
Okay.
time around, just for your safety and that person's safety,
Yeah.
and for you, for each, for y'all peace.
Yeah.
Um, Regaining trust in itself, because we are, you know what I'm saying, we are sensitive people by just by habit. That's just who we are. And the saying, you know what I'm saying, don't touch that hot iron,
Yeah.
you'll get burned.
Hmm.
So if we do touch that hot iron and get burned, we ain't gonna do it again.
Yeah.
So one time somebody betrays your trust, usually, for most of us, that's usually enough for us to never trust again. But I think that that's the wrong way to look at it.
Hmm.
I see why we look at it, because a betrayal of trust is a trauma.
Yeah.
That creates a trauma. That creates
Yeah.
a real big trauma. You betray my trust, that's gonna leave a scar on me. The
Yeah.
problem is, what most of us don't realize after that, is that if we never learn how to regain the trust again, we are setting ourselves back. We never progress as people
Yeah.
after that. So if somebody betrays my trust and I am now a person who is like, I'm never trusting anybody again, well, I'm now being lapped by everybody around me. I'm now missing the opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm now missing my natural progression in life, because I am holding myself back.
Mm.
So a part of regaining the trust is, don't do it for that person that betrayed your trust. You gotta do it for you.
Yeah.
You have to close that. You have to close that scar.
Yeah.
You have to close it, because if you don't close it, it's after a while, it's not hurting anybody but you. It ain't hurting nobody but you. So if you one of those people, it's a lot of people out there in the world that's like, man, if you one of them, my heart is so cold people, and what I'm saying, people betray me and I can't give it back. I feel like you're doing yourself a detriment, because you're not advancing. You're not you're not resolving that conflict within yourself. You don't have to resolve it for the other person,
Yeah.
And a lot of times we do that because we feel we were wronged.
Yeah.
And if somebody betrays your trust, you were wrong.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is, we expect it to be fixed by the person who did us wrong.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they ain't coming back to fix it. So we have to do that work for ourselves, for our natural progression, so we can receive our blessings. It's blessings in is to me, it's blessings in healing. When you
I agree.
heal, when you resolve those internal conflicts, you will receive blessings, whether it be, you know what I'm saying, physical, spiritual, mental, whatever, but you will feel like a weight is lifted. So that would be my advice to people who are trying to regain the ability to trust back. Don't don't like leave it.
Yeah.
Don't block it off. Regain your ability to trust, not for the people who abuse your trust, but for yourself, so you can continue to progress in life.
Yeah.
How you gonna do anything in life if you don't have the ability to trust again? That's like doing this right now. How could I, if I don't trust nobody, how can I sit here on this couch and do this
Yeah.
if I don't trust you? How
It's a
can
hard
we
task. It's a
how
tall task.
how can we do any other, how can you do this podcast if you don't got the ability to trust the people who run the studio?
Yeah. It takes trust in everything you
It
do, you
takes
know?
trust. Trust is an essential. Trust is a life skill.
Yeah,
Almost.
even just
It's
the little
essential.
things.
It's essential. You
Yeah.
have to trust it.
Yeah. If I
You
get in the
have to
car
trust
with
it.
you, I trust that you're gonna take care of my life and get us to our
Exactly.
location. You know, it's just
Exactly.
trust is everywhere, and sometimes we don't even talk about how big trust really is. Like
Hmm.
when people talk about trust, they're talking about relationships. You know,
Yes.
that's the main thing everyone talks about, but it's so many different things and so many different variables when it comes to trust. Like every day, waking up, trusting that somebody's not going to unveil all the secrets that you told them.
You got to
You
trust that
know,
you're gonna wake up.
exactly. You know,
Like when you
like
go to sleep, it ain't no like there are no 100%
there is
guarantees.
no guarantee in
So
life.
you're trusting that you will
Wake up.
wake up. You're trusting that you will get up and be able to walk. You're trust, like this is all, it's basically blind faith, you know?
Walk
So
by faith. Yeah.
so it's just like when it comes to trusting, like it's essential. It's one of those things that if you can't do it, you yourself are now creating an environment where you can't be trusted. It's a double
Yeah.
edged sword.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
don't trust people, now people naturally won't trust you. You're closed now. You're closed off. Now you're closed guarded because you don't have trust. But you can't advance that way.
Yeah.
I don't think you can advance through life not trusting anybody.
Yeah. So would you allow yourself to ever get so deep in the I don't trust people thing where like it's hard for you to be like, hey, I can't talk to you no more because I don't trust you. Do you allow yourself to get so deep where communication has to be cut off because of the lack of trust?
I think that's, again, that goes back to the, you know what I'm saying, when people show you who you are,
Hmm.
believe them. So
Yeah.
I think when it comes to human experiences, like you should always aim to have a great relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
If somebody does something that you don't appreciate, or if that behavior continues, then I think that it's okay to be like, yeah, I don't want to have communication with this person.
Yeah.
The problem that we have is we can't separate the disassociation from anger, and what I'm saying, mad, and
Yeah.
we put a lot of negative connotations in it, when really it's just me and this person don't mix, so I'm gonna go my separate ways.
Hmm.
So when it comes to something like when you apply that to trusting somebody, if somebody, what I'm saying, is betraying your trust and you don't want to deal with them anymore, you don't have to necessarily be mad at them or be angry at them. You can just learn your lesson and peacefully leave and peacefully bow out. That person
Yeah.
never has to speak to you. You never have to speak to them ever again.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that connection anymore. But a lot of us struggle with separating ourselves but leaving the negative energy, where,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, like we have to put a lot of negativity into it before we separate ourselves.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to get to the point where it's just like, you're not the person for me. Like, oh, you
Yeah.
don't want to, me and you not vibing. All right, I'm just gonna leave. Like, I'm done. I don't want to explain myself. I don't, especially if I have already explained myself, or if I have already tried to resolve the situation. If that's the case, you know what I'm saying, and you're not really you're not really doing right by me in that
Yeah.
situation, then I'll just peacefully leave. But all the negative stuff that comes with it, I really don't care for that. So I
Yeah.
think the best way you should, the best thing you could do is just, oh, well, I don't want to speak to you anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right thing to do. It don't have to be in a negative way. It's just these are my terms. You don't want to meet my terms, then we don't have to speak anymore.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned how the emotions that come behind that. Do you feel like a lot of times people just allow themselves to become too emotional and the getting away from the person, not getting away, but how do I say it? The disattachment, like just allowing yourself to fade away from the person. Do you think people involve too much emotion in it? Like they either get too upset, they get too mad, they get too angry, they allow all those things to flow forward instead of just peacefully bowing down and be like, hey, you violated my trust, I'm out.
Yeah, but that's attached to the trauma, you know. Hurt people.
Yeah,
And we don't like to be hurt. So
yeah,
a
of
lot of
course.
times when somebody hurts us, we aim to hurt them back. And it creates a negativity that we shouldn't allow us ourselves to be in, you
Yeah,
know. I think the best thing that somebody can do is literally remove themselves. It's a lot of power in removing yourself.
yeah,
It's a lot of power in being able to retain your emotions enough to literally just be like, all right, it's cool. I'm just gonna leave.
yeah,
That don't mean that you won't feel it anymore. That don't mean that you won't feel angry or feel hurt. But I feel like I personally think a lot of people, it'd be way easier for a lot of people to resolve that conflict if they just do it with themselves instead of doing it with the person that hurt them.
mhm.
This person has already hurt you. What possibly could you get out of having a conflict with them?
Maybe a peace of mind is what they're looking for.
But you can't. But I think that's us expecting people to change. Like somebody hurt us, so we expect them to fix it all the time.
Yeah, but
And
that's definitely not the case.
a lot of times when people hurt us, they don't feel like they hurt us, and that's
Yeah,
what we don't realize. Like as hurt as we feel, they really feel like they didn't do anything to us. And that's just their frame of mind. So all you're doing is prolonging the situation by sticking around and engaging in a negative energy with somebody when you could just be like, you know what? You made this decision. This hurt me. I have to get away.
yeah,
And since I have to get away, I'll deal with my hurt and I'll deal with my anger with myself.
yeah,
But what good is bringing my hurt and anger to the person who's causing it? All they're gonna do is bring me more hurt and anger, and we're never gonna resolve the situation.
yeah. Okay, so let me play on the other side then. Let me ask you this: for the people that feel like it's justified to go back and forth and cause an argument or be really upset and angry
Mm.
and scream, shout, do whatever you need to do you feel like those people are justified because they were hurt? Their trust was violated. They
Mhm.
felt like they were betrayed. Granted, it may not resolve in what you want. It may not have the outcome that you want because a lot of people don't recognize when they've hurt somebody, and even if they do recognize it, they feel like the damage is already done. So, is the person is the person's reaction justified?
Um, I feel like you can't tell anybody how to react, especially
Yeah.
if you cause hurt upon them. So I
Hmm.
won't say that it's not justified.
Hmm.
What I'll say is, where does it get you in the long run? And that's something that our emotions can cause us to be like short sighted
Yeah.
and not think ahead. Like we become short sighted when we feel certain emotions, especially like anger and
Yeah.
hurt and betrayal. When we feel those emotions, we end up in the short term, we end up trying to either inflict those emotions back or get our point across to have somebody understand why we feel the way we feel.
Yeah.
In the long run, I think if you ever look back on a situation, you'll look back and you will see like I really wasted a lot of emotional energy on this situation. All that short-sighted stuff that, you know what I'm saying, that you do in the short term, all that short-term reaction. Imagine if we were able to apply that to our own self-reflection.
Mm.
Like we can heal ourselves without needing that closure from another person.
Yeah.
That's why I say like if you separate yourself and you just get away and you go really sit with yourself, all that hurt and anger, you sit with that. You sort through that. But sort through that with yourself.
Yeah.
Conflict with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's gonna help you continue to grow and continue to move forward. That's what helps breed a new person. That's what help you get to the point where you can, like if we go back to what we were talking about earlier, that's what helps you get to the point where you can't overshare.
Yeah.
Like for me, because I've had situations where my trust has been betrayed, or people didn't do right by me.
Hmm.
But the one thing that I could say is I spent a lot of time with myself. It's a good and a bad thing to spend time with yourself, but
Yeah.
I spent time with myself, and it's almost like, you know how like when you meditate you can visualize things. It's
Hmm.
almost like, in a way, I started visualizing myself. So like how I'm sitting there right now, it could almost be like another version of me is sitting right in front of me. And like I'm gonna have this conversation with myself, like where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
Did this person really do me wrong, or am I just hurt right now?
Yeah.
All these different questions and these answers, like, and they were honest answers.
Mm.
And even though I might not have liked it, or in the short term I felt like I was justified, when I look back at it, I got way more out of that conversation with myself than I did going to that person with this conflict on my heart and
Yeah.
trying to get them to resolve it with me. Like you can't get anything out of that. That person has their own set of ideals, their own set of thoughts. So all you're doing is trying to convince them to look at it your way when it's not really feasible for them to do that.
Okay. So as we wrap stuff up,
Mm.
and it's been a real, insightful conversation, and we got really to the center of what can really help us in recovering our trust. I want to ask you to give the people at home some type of advice, some type of words of encouragement in terms of being able to trust again and being able to move on with your life.
I would say get in tune with yourself. Get in tune with who you really are, inside and out. You know, all we really got is ourselves at the end of the day. So you have to build a great relationship with yourself in order to walk through the world with your head high. Like a lot of us, we sometimes we get attached to other people or other things, and those things bring us a lot of, emotional pain and a lot of anger. And to get rid of that, instead of confronting it outwardly, I would say confront it inwardly. Sit down with yourself, have those honest conversations, self reflect. Self reflection is key to me. If you self reflect, then you have all the answers at your disposal to make yourself a better person, and to also create that emotional strength to be able to walk away from situations without having the conflict, without having the anger or the hurt. Learn yourself, learn who you are as a person inside and out, and learn what makes you you. Because once you learn that, nobody can knock you off of that. Nobody can take that away from you. And then you'll be able to walk away from a lot more situations when you are solid and confident in who you are and your mental process. So for me, if you want to regain your trust, learn if you want to just be stronger with who you are, regain your trust and be stronger with your trust to be able to protect yourself, learn who you are. That's all you have to do. Like sit with yourself, be honest with yourself, and continue to learn who you are. And continue to reflect on situations, because those situations are what will eventually make you who you are in the long run.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So we hope that you guys got something from this conversation. As always, we hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Therapeutic Talks.
No.
We're gonna be back again next week with episode 3. You guys tune in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, subscribe again, comment again.
Do all
Turn
that.
the notifications on. Be a part of the notifications.
Make sure y'all run the views up on this one.
Run the views up.
On this one in particular, because y'all not gonna see me again on this show. I promise. Like, he don't never invite me on here for real. So
he on the second.
So you know what I'm saying?
Premiere week.
This a big deal, because I never get invited to these shows. I promise, I never get invited.
Y'all gonna see him more on the channel. Y'all gonna see him more on the show.
No, you're not. He's lying.
We appreciate y'all for watching.
You gonna lie to these people in the second episode? Damn.
Go ahead and fade us out.
Yeah, fade us out.
Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all.